So I want to very methodically go over with you what just went down in the past 24 hours as Republicans blocked our access, we the people, our access to critical information about Donald Trump's dark past. What the GOP did happened in plain view, and I don't want to resort to hyperbolic language or partisan tropes. I just want to show you the receipts of what went down at one of the House committee hearings yesterday. Now, I'm sure you know by now the Patel testimony, which was an utter disaster for Patel. We covered it a ton on the MeidasTouch network. We showed Patel saying that there are no other co-conspirators involved with Epstein. It was just Epstein as like a lone wolf. And then Patel said he didn't know how many times Donald Trump's name was on the Epstein files, if it was 1 or 10,000 or 10,000 times. He has no memory. But there are other instances that I think are even more powerful that are not getting enough attention. And this occurred when Democrats tried to force votes to issue subpoenas on certain things, to get documents and records. Who would be opposed to getting documents and records regarding the financial transactions of Epstein, regarding why Ghilaine Maxwell was moved from a maximum security facility after she was sentenced for child sex trafficking in Tallahassee to a minimum security facility at Camp Ryan, Texas, after Donald Trump's former criminal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, who became the number 2 in charge at the Department of Justice, interviewed her and gave her immunity. I want to show you, why is it that Dan Bongino, who knows a lot, why isn't he testifying before Congress after he apparently threatened to quit for the cover-up of the Epstein files, also in its relationship to Donald Trump's dark past? So let's just go through it as I would if I were a trial lawyer like I was back in the day and I was presenting the evidence to a jury. So why don't you be my jury and let me just bring out the receipts one by one of what went down yesterday. So at this House committee meeting, at this House committee hearing, all of the Republicans, everyone except for Republican Thomas Massie, blocked a motion from Democratic Congressmember Raskin to subpoena the banks for information related to Epstein. The banks. They blocked that. Why would you block subpoenas to the banks to get information about Epstein's financial transactions? Here, watch it go down for yourself. Play this clip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So look, there are 4 banks: J.P. Morgan, Bank of New York, Bank of America, and Deutsche Bank.
Yeah, but the gentleman can state his motion.
Yeah, but the motion is to subpoena the CEOs of these 4 banks to bring in all records relating to their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein and to produce all records reflecting it. These 4 banks have flagged to the government $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions relating to the sex trafficking.
I move the table.
Mr. Diamond just released a statement saying he would be happy to comply.
Chairman, you don't need
The motion to table, the motion offered by the gentleman from Maryland, the motion to table is not debatable. The question occurs on the motion to table. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion is tabled.
Now, in this next clip I'm going to show you, you will see all of the Republicans, again, it's other than Massie, but I'll just say all of the Republicans blocking an effort by the Democrats to subpoena Dan Bongino to testify on the Epstein files, right? Bongino had reportedly considered resigning from his position over the refusal to release the full Epstein files, but they want to prevent Dan Bongino from testifying. I thought Dan Bongino's a tough guy, right? He's a former podcaster. He was out there when he was a podcaster saying that the FBI was covering up the Epstein files and he was going to make it his life mission to release it. Why wouldn't you show up and testify? Are you scared, Bongino? Are you scared? What's the Republican Party scared of? Why would they vote down this subpoena? Ask yourself that question. And let's not view it in terms of Democrats, Republicans, red, blue, purple. Just why wouldn't you go and testify? Here's what happened. unless you're hiding something, right? Am I wrong about that? Here, play this clip.
I move that the committee subpoena Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino to produce and testify what the director is unwilling to discuss and share with Congress, the files related to Jeffrey Epstein, including witness interview records, including FBI Forms 302, search warrant materials, records relating to the initiation of investigations, records relating to financial transactions and payments, evidence collected from wiretaps. The FBI director said today that they've already released these documents. Bongino has reportedly considered resigning from his position over the refusal to release the full Epstein files.
I'm delighted to
Perhaps
see
there'll be
that
more
my
forthcoming.
colleague can read, and I move to lay his motion on the table.
Motion is not debatable. The question occurs on the motion to table. Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is tabled.
I also can call for a vote, Mr. Chairman, recorded vote.
Recorded vote being requested. The clerk will report, call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, there are 21 ayes and 16 noes.
Motion to table is successful.
But it gets worse. Republicans also block the effort of Democrats to subpoena the head of the Bureau of Prisons to explain why Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghilaine Maxwell, was transferred to a minimum security prison in violation of Bureau of Prison policies. Because convicted sex traffickers are not allowed to go to minimum security facilities, especially when, like Camp Ryan, is right on the Texas A&M campus. And there's a great degree of cooperation between the women in the minimum security facility in Camp Ryan and Texas A&M doing criminal justice research, rehabilitation. There's like puppy raising programs and restorative justice programs. Watch Republicans block this subpoena. Play this clip.
I move that the committee subpoena the head of the Bureau of Prisons, William K. Marshall, to discuss and produce all records relating to the transfer of Jeffrey Epstein, co-conspirator and child sex trafficker, Ghilaine Maxwell, in apparent violation of BOP policies regarding sex offenders, to include all BOP communications with DOJ, FBI, and the White House. BOP transferred Maxwell to a minimum security
Mr.
camp
Chairman.
following her interview with President
from
Trump's
California is
former
recognized.
personal
Move to lay the motion on
attorney
the table.
and now
There's
Deputy
been a motion.
Attorney General Todd Blanche.
Motion to
I am
table
done
is
reading
not
now.
debatable. This question occurs on the motion to table. Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No,
Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
I'd ask for a recorded vote.
Recorded vote being requested. The clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, there are 21 ayes and 6 noes.
The motion to table is agreed to.
And then finally, you will see here Republicans blocking efforts by Democrats to subpoena Trump's Treasury Secretary, who has in his possession records relating to, get this, $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions flagged by banks that are related to Epstein's sex trafficking ring. So why wouldn't the Treasury Department just turn this over? Why are Republicans blocking this subpoena? Just ask yourself, why would they block this subpoena? At the same time, you have Patel now saying there's been no one else actually linked to Jeffrey Epstein. He was a lone wolf. Come on, we're not buying that. We know you're covering this up, and we know that Donald Trump's name appears repeatedly on the Epstein files. This is beyond pathetic, and it's so offensive to the survivors. Here, play this clip.
I move that the committee subpoena U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent to produce or otherwise make available to the committee all suspicious activity reports in the possession of the Treasury Department, identifying the roughly $1.5
Mr. Chairman.
billion in
Gentleman from
suspicious
California is
transactions.
recognized.
I move to lay the motion on the table.
The motion is not debatable.
I didn't finish.
She hadn't completed the motion. Is it proper to cut it off before it's completed, Mr. Chairman?
Finish your last sentence there. The gentlelady can finish.
Okay, so we're asking them to identify the roughly $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions related to the sex trafficking crimes of Epstein, Maxwell, and their co-conspirators. And as we know,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Patel said that the Treasury
Gentleman's
might
recognized.
have
Move to
that
lay the motion
information.
on the table.
Yep. The motion is not debatable. The question occurs on the motion to table. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
I request a recorded vote.
Recorded vote being requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, there are 23 ayes and 16 noes.
Motion to table carries.
Ever wake up sweaty, freezing, or just uncomfortable? The temperature in your bedroom can make or break your sleep. That's why I switched to Miracle Made sheets. They're inspired by NASA technology and use silver-infused temperature-regulating fabric to help you sleep perfectly all night long. Miracle Made sheets are crafted with NASA-inspired silver-infused fabric that helps regulate your body temperature. Hot sleeper, cold sleeper, it doesn't matter. These sheets help keep you in the comfort zone all night long. Thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. That means fewer odors, fewer wash cycles, and way less laundry. They feel just as good, if not better, than sheets you'd find at a 5-star hotel, but without the steep price tag. Smooth, breathable, and ridiculously comfortable. Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40%, and when you use promo code Meidas, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a free 3-piece towel set. They make an amazing gift. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/Meidas, code Meidas at checkout. Thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode.
Okay, so I just showed you 4 instances, right? I mean, I'm just bringing out the receipts. Democrats saying, let's get the records. Business records, bank records, Treasury Department records, Bureau of Prison records. We should want the info. We should want the data. And by the way, it was the Republicans promising that they were going to make this stuff available. That was they ran on the issue. And now the Democrats are subpoenaing and Republicans are blocking it. I want to show you this, though, as well. Because during the testimony by Kash Patel, one of his latest lies was that the federal courts are blocking Trump and the DOJ from turning over the Epstein files. We'd like to, but a court is blocking us from doing it. Okay, well then what I want to show you, because again, we're receipt-based, we're fact-based, we're evidence-based. I'm a former litigator. This is what I did. This is what I do. So then I want to show you what the federal judge actually said. Federal Judge Richard Berman from the Southern District of New York, the judge in charge of all of this. I'm going to read you portions of his order where the federal judge says, I believe the judge says, I believe that this is in the possession of the federal government and the Trump administration should turn it over. I'm literally going to read you the judge saying the exact opposite of what Kash Patel said. Why am I going to read this to you? Because facts matter. Orders matter. And I'm going to show you here that it would appear that Kash Patel just committed perjury, that he just committed perjury. Here, play this clip of Congressmember Dan Goldman, who was a former federal prosecutor, questioning Patel. Then let's get right into the court order. Here, play this clip.
Let's talk about the witness interviews, 302s of witness interviews. Those are not subject to the court order. Those are not subject to any fictional sealed order for a search warrant. Why aren't you releasing those with the redacted names of the victims?
We are releasing as much as legally allowed. That's why we went back to
how
the
is
courts.
How is that not legally allowed?
Sir, do you know how court orders work? Do you know how protective orders work?
Actually,
Do you know how
Mr.
sealing
Patel,
orders
I was
work?
a real prosecutor for 10 years. I know exactly how.
So I was a
court
fake one?
orders. And I want to understand what the court order prevents you from releasing witness statements that the FBI took.
You should know that as a real prosecutor, when the court hand downs a protective order and a motion to seal, the material is sealed unless
So
that
your
judge
testimony
waives
here
it.
is that all of those witness statements are under a court order, a protective order.
We are providing everything we can legally provide.
No, that's not my
Congress
question.
has sent us a
My
subpoena.
question is, why are those witness statements that are not grand jury testimony, that if they were under a protective order are no longer under a protective order, why are they not being released?
How are they not under protective
Why
order?
are you not going to the court like you did for the grand jury testimony to unseal those
The
records?
DOJ did go to the court.
No, not on those records. Why aren't you going? You just went on grand jury.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
You are hiding the Epstein files,
Time
Mr.
of the
Patel.
gentleman has expired.
Okay, well, you heard that for yourself. Well, let's look at what the court ruled. August 20th, 2025, This order is in connection with the DOJ requesting that the court release grand jury transcripts, which the court would not otherwise be allowed to produce because there is a rule under the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure, which basically say grand jury testimony is not allowed to be produced. It's not even helpful, the grand jury testimony here, because it's just one former FBI officer who was just testifying very broadly about the investigation just of Ghilaine and Jeffrey Epstein. No one else. And it was done in a few hours. This is not the files, and this is not the stuff that the DOJ has. The DOJ has 3 to 4 terabytes of information, meaning enough info that could basically fill 3 or 4 skyscrapers from the basement to the tippy top of the skyscraper. So the federal judge is like, why would I turn over grand jury transcripts? That's against the law. But you have the files, DOJ. Turn over the files is what the judge said. Not, it's subject to a protective order. It can't be turned over. The judge, what is it? A month ago at this point, like exactly a month ago, said, no, you turn it over. So here's what the judge says. Having reviewed, among other things, the government's motion, the grand jury transcripts, etc., the court says the court denies the government's motion to unseal the Epstein grand jury transcripts and exhibits. But let's go to page 6 and 7. It says the government is seeking this disclosure of the grand jury testimony. And then the court says a significant and compelling reason to reject the government's position in this litigation, the Trump administration in this litigation, is that the government has already undertaken a comprehensive investigation into the Epstein case, and not surprisingly, has assembled a trove of Epstein documents, interviews, and exhibits. And the government committed that it would share its Epstein investigation materials with the public. See press release of Pam Bondi, Phase 1 declassification. The government's 100,000 pages of Epstein files and materials dwarf the 70-odd pages of Epstein grand jury material. The government's Epstein files are something that should be produced. They are investigatory and not subject to Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E. The government is the logical party to make comprehensive disclosure to the public of the Epstein files. By comparison, the instant grand jury motion appears to be a diversion from the breadth and scope of the Epstein files in the government's possession. The grand jury testimony is merely a hearsay snippet of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged conduct. In February 2025, the government, as noted, was prepared to release their Epstein files to the public. But then on July 6, 2025, the government announced it would not make the files available to the public. Then the court goes on to say on the last page of the order, the information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales in comparison to the Epstein investigation information and materials in the hands of the Department of Justice. For the reasons stated above, that's why the grand jury testimony was rejected, but basically produce the records is what is being said there. But Kash Patel continued on with his lies. When Kash Patel was asked by Congressmember Swalwell whether or not the FBI told, or whether he told Bondi that Trump's name is in the Epstein files, take a watch at what Patel responds. Play this clip.
Remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the Attorney's
It's a simple question.
file.
Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is
painstakingly
simple.
Who
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes or no, Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No, A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F. Don't
It
wanna
sounds
do
like
it?
you don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your
Director,
constituency
did
by
you tell the
focusing on
Attorney
reducing
General
violent
that Donald
crime in this
Trump's name-
country and the number of pedophiles that are
Director,
legally
reclaiming
harbored
my time,
in your
Director.
sanctuary cities in
Director,
California?
reclaiming
I'll
my
work with
time.
you on that. Do
Regular
you want
order,
to
Mr.
work with us
Chairman.
on that?
Director,
I'm
reclaiming
the
my
lawless
time.
gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
Question has been asked and answered.
You've not answered it, and we will take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt.
And so even Republican Senator John Kennedy is starting to feel uneasy about all of this. Here he is on CNN when he's asked, why do you think it is that the FBI won't release these files? Play this clip.
I tell you they're questioning Kash Patel, and I just keep coming back to this question. Why do you think it is that they won't put these files out?
I don't know, but they're going to have to put them out sooner or later.
Are they covering for people?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I have been saying since the beginning of this, it's not complicated. Here's what the American people are thinking. They've been listening to all this for several years, and they followed it pretty closely. And here's what they're thinking. Okay, Epstein was a pig. Epstein trafficked young women, some of whom were minors. He trafficked them in part, or maybe in whole, to himself. But he had a lot of friends and a lot of important people. Who else did he traffic these young girls to? Now, that's a very appropriate question. And the Justice Department, to which the president has kicked this issue, is going to have to answer that. It's just that simple. It's not going away.
Here's Kennedy again when asked about Trump.
Do you think that the president is potentially one of those people?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Are they trying to cover up for the president?
I asked Kash yesterday, point blank. I said, who else, if anyone, besides Epstein, were these young women trafficked to? And he said, nobody. It's not in our files. Now, and that's fine. I'm not saying he's lying. I don't know one way or the other. I'm just saying that after all the rhetoric, they're going to have to release the files and let people decide for themselves.
And finally, here's what Kennedy says about Trump. Here, play this clip.
But the problem with that is that many people in the administration talked frequently before they became part of the administration, and some afterwards, about how, there's some really important people there and involved, and the American people need to know. And now they've got to come clean. And I'm ready to get past it. If it were up to me, I'd just release the documents and let the chips fall where they may. Could the president be mentioned in them? Maybe. Wouldn't be surprised if he was, because he and Epstein many years ago were friends. But we'll never get past this on to other important things until they release the documents.
Lastly, I want to leave you with what Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had to say. Here, play this clip.
There has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thanks for listening.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.